Hey guys, how's it going? So, we are going to be breaking down the Anthony Hernandez versus Sean Strickland fight today. And before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, I kind of want to sit here and kind of give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what we're going to do. So, we're going to break down the main fight today. And then next week, week of the fight, we are going to break down main card, prelims, and then probably Sunday or Monday, we're going to release a video. And it's going to kind of be a reaction. It's going to be a breakdown of what happened at the fight night. And that's going to kind of be the schedule for most main events, for most fight nights. So, yeah. Real quick, before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, let's talk about Jilton Almeida. So, I recently released a video on the UFC heavyweight division. And one of my biggest complaints about it was how boring the last Jilton Almeida fight was. It was terrible. However, the UFC has just recently announced that they have cut Jilton Almeida. He was the number 6 ranked in the heavyweight division. They've cut him. So he's no longer in the UFC. He's been cut from the UFC. And I'm not heartbroken about that, right? I'm not heartbroken about the fact that Jilton Almeida is no longer in the UFC. That's not my big issue. My big issue with this is the fact that Jilton Almeida was on contract. He had one more fight on his contract. So my biggest issue with this, and this is not new. This is something that the UFC has been doing for a while now, is that contracts don't really seem to mean anything. Right? The UFC retains the right to cut you whenever they want, and a contract should mean that you're guaranteed to get 3 fights, 8 fights, 5 fights, whatever that contract is, right? That has not been the case. We've seen that quite a few times. We've seen that with, I want to say, Kai Kara-France still had a fight on his contract. Obviously, Jilton Almeida still had 1 fight left on his contract. And the reason this is such a big deal, I'm not saying Jilton Almeida was in this position, but there are guys out there, there are people out there who legitimately depend on these fights to make money, to support their families, to support themselves. So it's pretty shitty of the UFC to just cut you when they promised that you were going to get a specific set amount of fights. So that's pretty shitty of the UFC to do. But again, it's kind of been proven time and time again that the UFC doesn't really give a fuck about their fighters. That's the unfortunate reality of the situation, though. So no more Jilton Almeida. And that makes me a bit sad, as I've said. He wasn't my favorite fighter in the world, but he's definitely better than your Tai Tuivasas, your Derek Lewis's. And again, why Jilton Almeida is being cut and not Tai Tuivasa, who is now on a 6-loss streak, is beyond me. I truly don't understand. Dude, Tai Tuivasa needs to be cut, man. He needs to be cut. 6-loss streak is insane. But we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about the main event of this upcoming fight night. So, I'm actually pretty excited for this fight. It's Anthony Hernandez versus Sean Strickland. And this fight has me kind of torn, because I think it has potential to be a really entertaining fight, but I think it also has potential to be a really boring fight. So we're going to start with Mr. Sean Strickland himself. The problem with Sean Strickland, in my opinion at least, is that he's a very hit-or-miss fighter. Very hit-or-miss. There are guys out there who are, they consistently do bangers, like Ilia Topuria, your Marabs, those kind of guys. They constantly are doing really well. They're putting out really entertaining fights. Sean Strickland's not that. Sean Strickland has had some good fights. He obviously had the Dricus du Plessis fights, which I would say were pretty entertaining. I enjoyed seeing him fight Dricus du Plessis. He also had the Israel Adesanya fight, which is, again, without a doubt, his best win on his entire record. I have no idea how this man managed to beat Israel Adesanya. That's fucking insane to me. But, he also is just a boring fighter, dude. I don't know a good way to word it. He either is out there putting on really good fights, or he's jab-teeping his way to a decision win. Sean Strickland's style doesn't help with that any. He doesn't have a very entertaining style. And a real issue with Sean Strickland's style is that he just doesn't have the power to make it work and be effective. If you look at his style, he kind of reminds me of Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz, those kind of guys, because he can't cleanly knock you out in one punch. He really just can't do it. He's a pressure fighter. He has to land multiple shots to knock you out. He has to land multiple shots to finish you. He's not like Ilia Topuria, where all he needs is one shot on the chin and you're fucked. Or Alex Baeta, where, boom, you get one clean shot and you're fucked. He just doesn't have that knockout power, so he has to sit there and land clean shots on people. And especially, I think you see that against his higher level competition, against Izzy, against Israel Adesanya. Couldn't knock him out, couldn't finish him, so obviously got the decision. Against Baeta, got his ass knocked out. Against Dricus, there was no real imminent threat of him finishing Dricus du Plessis. So, coming in against Anthony Hernandez, I have a really difficult time seeing Sean Strickland knock this guy out. I have a really hard time seeing that. I think if Sean Strickland wins, it's going to be by a decision. Sean Strickland, the advantages that I would give Sean Strickland is that he's fought higher level people. He has. He's fought Alex Baeta. He's fought Israel Adesanya. He's fought Dricus du Plessis. He's just fought and had more main events. He's had more big name people that he's fought. So he does have the experience, I would say. But, yeah, dude, we haven't seen him fight in over a year, so it's going to be really interesting to see how Sean Strickland does. I'm interested to see him getting back into the octagon, but, yeah, I don't have a ton of faith in Sean Strickland. Now, coming in, let's talk about Anthony Hernandez. Anthony Hernandez is on a crazy tear right now. He's on an 8-win streak. His last loss came against Kevin Holland via KO/TKO. I think it was like with knees or something. But crazy tear, honestly. Crazy tear right now. You know, has kind of been, I mean, he obviously was on the Dana White's Contender Series in 2018. That's how he got into the UFC. But, you know, nasty tear right now. 8-win streak and has been submitting everyone in their mama, dude. He had that disgusting anaconda choke. You know, we don't see very many of those. We don't see very many anaconda chokes. He had an anaconda. He had a guillotine, I want to say. He had a darce. I want to say he had like an arm triangle or something. Has a couple KOs and TKOs mixed in there, but most of his wins are via submission. And that's actually pretty impressive considering the fact that he markets himself as a kickboxer, which is a little weird to me. But he has really good wrestling, really decent, solid jiu-jitsu. You know, as proven by the fact that most of his wins are via submission. Now, I think the biggest thing with Anthony Hernandez that I would say going into the Sean Strickland fight is, does Anthony Hernandez have the experience? Like, that's the thing. I think he has all the tools to beat Sean Strickland. You know, I think that on the feet, and again, this is something I'll talk about kind of going back to Sean Strickland doesn't have a super great toolbox. You know, he's a decent boxer, but he really doesn't throw kicks. He's not really a kickboxer. I would call him much more of a boxer than a kickboxer. You know, we don't really see him throw a whole lot of head-high kicks. We don't see him throw a whole lot of body kicks, right? He does throw leg kicks somewhat often, but, yeah, like I said, his arsenal consists of jab, teep, occasionally throws in the right hand, occasionally throws in some lead hooks, you know, essentially just kind of sits there and picks you apart, pick, and then if he hurts you, then he turns the pressure up, then he starts to kind of throw in some more variety of strikes. But, yeah, I feel like Anthony Hernandez throws more knees, throws more head kicks, you know, throws more elbows, you know, has much better wrestling. I mean, we've seen him get a lot of people up against the cage, wrestle them to the floor, get the submission there. So I feel like, honestly, when it comes to finishing the fight, Anthony Hernandez has a much better chance of finishing this fight than Sean Strickland does. He just has more tools in his toolbox to do it. You know, yeah, like I said, I think it has potential to be a very entertaining fight. Because, again, you've got two guys who have very nice cardio. Again, Sean Strickland, like I said, he's a decision machine. Anthony Hernandez has proven time and time again he has a really nice cardio. I don't know, dude. It's a difficult fight to call, as I've said, because I feel like Sean Strickland is super hit or miss. He's beaten some really crazy high-level guys, and he's lost to some really low-level guys. So I'm going to go ahead and make my pick now. I'm going to pick Anthony Hernandez by submission, right? Anthony Hernandez has been on an absolute tear. He's on an 8-fight win streak. He's younger. He's got, in my opinion, better wrestling, better ground game than Sean Strickland. So I'm gonna take Anthony Hernandez. I feel like if Sean Strickland wins, it's gonna be via decision, like I said earlier in the video. I just don't think that he has the power to finish him on the feet, and I don't think he has the grappling to take him down and submit him. So I feel like Anthony Hernandez has a lot of advantages here. He's got the youth, he's got the better wrestling, he's got the better jiu-jitsu, and on the feet, I'm not going to say Sean Strickland's going to be completely outclassed. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. But I do think that Anthony Hernandez has more variety. He has more head kicks. He throws the kick to the body a lot more. He throws knees and elbows quite a bit more. Sean Strickland can just be a very one-sided fighter, right? He just doesn't have a whole lot of variety. So I'm going to pick Anthony Hernandez via submission. I'm going to be daring here. I'm gonna say via round 2 submission. I'm probably going to be wrong about that, but hey, gotta have a little bit of spice in your life, right? Yeah, so I'm excited to see Sean Strickland fight. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of interesting stuff on the mic as well when it comes to the press conference, but I just hope it's a good fight. I really do. I hope it's a good fight. But that's basically it, boys. I appreciate all the support we've gotten on the videos as of lately, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. So I will see you boys later.